Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live, talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to lynn@pghcitypaper.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
Well, hello there. Fancy meeting you guys here. I can see my voice is a little growly this morning, but welcome to the show. It's March 30th. My brother turned 75 today. Oh, God almighty. And my sister is on the line. Hi, Suze.
Hi, which means that I'm about to turn 70.
Oh, God.
If Bill's 75, well, then this year I'm 70. So we're all in the same decade again. That's nice.
Oh, dear God in heaven.
That's the power of being the baby. The fact that you're miserable that your older brother is 75 is not half as miserable as the fact that your younger sister is 70.
I know. It's true. And I'm stuck in the middle. God, dang it. Jeez. Bunch of old farts. It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
Speaking
we're just old farts.
Somebody dredged up an hour television special that I wrote to celebrate the career of this wondrous beloved television anchor man, Paul Long, his name was. And they put it out on Twitter, and I just looked at it for a second, and oh my God, we'll post it on the Facebook page, but because it's a good thing if you want to go back in Pittsburgh broadcasting history. But the dress I'm wearing and my hair is so mind-boggling that I have to get by that to disseminate this further. Oh my God. The year would be 1980 something, right? Susan, I have on this pink silk fancy schmancy dress that I remember that I didn't own. They
put it on you, yes.
Lent it to me. I remember thinking, whoa, it has shoulder pads, Susan, that are easily out 5 inches from my real shoulder on both sides.
Yeah, you could play left tackle for the Packers in it.
Oh my God, it's unbelievable. It is just unbelievable. And I guess that's the era of those huge shoulders and huge hair to match the shoulders. I guess your head
had to get bigger or it would look ridiculous sitting on those shoulders.
No. Oh my God, you can't imagine. Anyway, we'll put it out there because I'm sure I don't know, whatever. God.
And I used to just walk around with those great big shoulders and my little head because my hair never ever got big. It was.
Oh gosh.
I was not a big hair girl. It wasn't possible. So.
Well, there was a family picture that was sent around the other day. Susan will tell you of a Passover meal, a Seder, at her home. And did we figure out it was 1983?
I think it's 1983, and
so it's the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
same time, and God, we were all so young. But the reason the pictures are so wonderful, well, I'll let you tell it. It's a picture that centers.
But it's a picture featuring our father, who apparently had been out for a walk earlier before the Seder started with my husband. And as it happens in Missouri, one second it's beautiful, and the next second a rainstorm came up, and they got stuck and drenched. And our father who was visiting did not have an extra pair of pants.
And he didn't fit into.
And he didn't fit into my husband. Our dad was 6'2", and sort of on the thinnish side, and my husband was 5'9" and sort of on the Santa Claus side. So at least at that point. And so no, the clothes did not interchange. Bill was there, but he probably only had one pair of pants too, and he was too skinny. But anyways, long story short, the picture shows us all at the Seder table, with dressed beautifully from the waist up, sitting at the table, and then the side view shows my father pantsless. So.
And I think the other funny thing about it is all the guys are wearing hats.
Well, that was a tradition in our family because we never had a whole drawer full of yarmulkes. So, but we always had plenty of hats. Yeah,
skull cap that you're supposed to wear. So people are wearing it is the cutest, funniest. But the other thing in that picture that freaked me out was you could barely see me because of my hair. The hair, it was just this huge blob of big hair sitting there. Oh my God!
And the wonderful thing about that Seder was this wonderful woman that worked for our family from very early on. We grew up together, Virgie and I. We're still very, very close. We've gone through the highest and the lowest of each other's lives together our whole life. And that night she was in the kitchen helping me. And as we're having the Seder, all of a sudden out of the kitchen comes this most beautiful voice that Virgie had. And she's singing Let My People Go.
Which is perfectly in line with
which is a Passover song
we were doing. And then, unhappily,
years later, when my husband was dying,
he produced his own funeral, decided what he wanted in it, knowing he was dying, and he insisted that Virgie.
He wanted her whole church choir, which she said she couldn't deliver on a moment's notice.
Oh my God!
But Virgie got up. Virgie got up, and we were in a it was a Jewish burial chapel, and it's where all of the very religious Jews were buried from. And my husband, who was Catholic by birth, had requested that he be buried as a Jew. And so we were using the Berger Memorial. And I had warned them that it was going to be a rather large funeral, but they didn't believe me, and we were overflowing. They took over the whole place, and we're out in the parking lot, and it was a rather incredible tribute to my husband. But he had asked Virgie to sing, and Virgie came decked out for the occasion in red satin and ruby rhinestone earrings and a ruby necklace, and came from the back of the chapel, walking slowly up the main aisle of the chapel, going, I didn't know he was listening. I didn't know he was singing. Oh, Lord, help me do this right. Oh, Lord, help me, help me. And she walks up and she stands at what we would call the bima, at the dais, at the pulpit, and in this Jewish place, out comes,
belts out. Yeah.
Take me home, Jesus.
Jesus. I loved it.
There were chills going down everybody's spine. She couldn't have done it better. She couldn't have picked anything more appropriate for the moment. And this largely white audience was just sitting there, like with their eyes open and their mouths open. And at the end, when she was done, they couldn't help it. They just started clapping.
Right. Well, you forget she dragged her sister up there with her.
She dragged her sister to sing back up. Yeah.
Right. They were just amazing. And the other thing, not that we want to dwell on Wondrous Eric's.
Well, you have to. So just so you understand, and I'm sure you can tell by the way we're talking about it, my husband's funeral was this glorious memory. I mean, it was the incredible gift that he gave all of us because we enjoyed it. I mean, we enjoyed it. Everybody enjoyed it. I still hear from people that say they've never been to anything like it, and and they felt like they had really been through something. I said, well, that was Eric's last production. There you go.
It was. He was always, man. So he had insisted that I be the MC, essentially, of this production, which was, fine. But right before he died, I had a very bad fall, which resulted in me having a huge black eye, a dislocated and broken shoulder, and
your arm was in a sling.
My arm was in a sling, and I returned from the funeral and ended up having a 4.5-hour surgery.
Because you fell again
and broke the bone further. Right. So it doesn't matter. So I'm up there, and I have this black eye, and I'm in a sling, and I'm in charge of this wondrous event. And I said, "Gee, Susan, what are people going to think? I look like," and Susan gave me the line that got me out. She said, "You just tell them that it is an old Jewish custom that when you are in mourning for someone, you just haul off and slug yourself in the eye." Isn't that what you told me?
I said you slug yourself in the eye and you throw yourself on the ground in mourning.
And so I told them that, and I was just overcome, and I went a little too far. So that started the laughter this thing was amazing. And
And there's one or two good voices in our family that also sang. It was a real production.
Yeah, it was something.
Yeah.
So, oh God,
how are we talking about this?
How did we end up on this? Oh, because we were talking about the Seder.
Virgie. We were talking about the Seder.
Virgie. Yeah, that's right, Virgie. That's what happened. Oh dear. So, okay. Now you have a busy day. Speaking of family and other stuff. Are you and Mom today going to this production shoot?
No. Today, my son and my daughter-in-law and my grandchildren come to visit us, which is extremely exciting for Babu, and they get to spend the night. And yes, I had arranged that Mother and I have been asked to do a PSA for the Green Bay viewing audience on getting vaccinated. So I'm not so sure.
So she's going to be, I think they love the idea of having a 98-year-old woman and her daughter and how you got your vaccines, and they're going to
I don't know what they're going to do, but I changed the date to Thursday so that I didn't interfere with my visitors. But yes, we report at 2:00 on Thursday for hair and makeup and wardrobe.
Oh, what a riot!
Yeah.
Well, I heard Mom say, "I'll do my own makeup."
Yes,
but
she said they aren't touching me, and I said to the woman that said report for hair and makeup, I said, okay, as long as I don't look like any makeup, I'm wearing any makeup, because I sort of made a rule that if we got used to looking at men naturally and don't require them to tart themselves up for us to find them attractive, I think that it's time for us women to accept our natural beauty. That's it.
Indeed. So I have to tell you, speaking of families, there is something that, I'm always reading the obituaries.
Yeah.
We'll get off this death thing in just a minute.
But you see, it entertains us and makes us laugh.
So I noticed this obit yesterday, and then it was repeated today. And I don't want to upset this family any more than I think it probably already is.
The laughter might not be helping, dear sister.
So I noted, I'm not going to give the name, okay? So I noted this very long obituary about the matriarch of a large Italian family here. And she was an immigrant, and the blah, 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 blah. She created this huge family. Her children are doctors and lawyers, and it's just a real American success story. And when I read it yesterday, I thought, wow, that's really wonderful life. And today it was back again, and I noted that. But at the very end of all the obits, I see her name again. I'd already gotten through her obit, but at the end, there it was again, her name and a picture of her. And it is a letter written by, it's signed your loving son, Alfonso. And in it, then when I saw that and read his letter, I went back to the obit, and he's not listed as a.
You got thrown out of the family.
There's no Alfonso in the, and so I guess he saw that he wasn't in the obituary. He wrote this other thing, and in it, he says, my mother always had a soft spot in her heart for me. I believe it was because she named me after her father. She very much enjoyed coming to my house daily with my father to have dinner and spend time with my wife and our 4 children. And then he goes into this thing where he was so clearly very much a part of her life. How
could they leave him out?
It says just a few years back, he took her back to Italy. And, but then it gets a little weird again. It gets weird. He mentions a villa that someone in the family had purchased for her. And clearly, maybe that was another brother. I don't know. But, to air this is, wow. You guys, you got to do the obits. I'm telling you, it is just a constant. It's sort of like, walking through a cemetery, you can find stories and stuff. And it's just, wow. So anyway, there's something awry in that family that played out in the obit. That's all I'm saying.
Well, that's,
What?
Families should be careful. There are all sorts of ways to bring humiliation upon the family.
Well, this didn't help any.
No.
I'm sure. If Alfonso was on the outs before, or if there was discord before, it is only more so now.
I mean, Alfonso could also be making the whole thing up, and that's the source of the discord from the family, and you have no idea. That could have all been a piece of fiction.
Oh, it has so much detail in it.
No, I would argue that makes it even more fictional.
Oh my God! Hey, Barbara has a remark on shoulder pads. She says, did you suffer from shoulder pad buildup, especially in the winter? What?
Oh, right. Pads upon pads upon pads.
Oh, yes. She said sometimes I wore 4 shoulder pads at one time. I'd have a camisole type undergarment with shoulder pads, a blouse with shoulder pads, a suit jacket with shoulder pads, and finally a coat with shoulder pads.
Right.
Oh, my God. Well, that coincided. That must have come from, that was when women really came into the workforce. And
believe me, when I was a young lawyer, that's what I was wearing, great big shoulder pads.
Right. And it must have been the, fashion designers are the ones that come up with this crap. It must have been a way to make us look more formidable or something?
Sure.
Or do you say formidable?
Formidable.
You do? Formidable.
I think so. I think I say them both. I think that is one of those words that I say however I feel like it.
Yeah. Well, I must have been feeling formidable.
Hey, I boxed yesterday, so I don't have to do that today. I did it yesterday, and my coach tells me I'm getting pretty formidable.
Well, I'll be very careful not to get you upset next time I'm in your.
You're in no danger unless I've got you on your shortest setting and you don't move.
Oh, God. God.
I know I say this all the time, guys, but I got to tell you, especially if you are old like me, start boxing. It is so good for I know you're not going to believe me, your brain. It's so good. Oh, and it's so good for your brain. And then you find out that you've got all of this pent up anger in you.
No, see, you do. I don't want to hit anything. God.
No, I don't think that's true, dear sister. I think you have trained yourself to think you don't want to hit anything, and instead you're just stuffing it all inside. It took me several months just not to pull my punches because we girls are trained to pull punches.
Do you know what? I can't hit an egg. I want to tell you this. This is one of those things that right before I'm about to crack an egg, I have to say to myself, now just hit it. Because I do this sort of little, I don't want to also swat a fly. I always seem to miss. I can't bear hitting anything. Can't. I don't know what it is. I don't know what that is. I can't crack an egg. I can't hit a fly.
I can.
I took a shower the other day.
Sisters, it's amazing. Yeah.
I took a shower the other day and I saw this like little sort of baby spider racing. He must have been, I don't know, he was in the drain or something, and all of a sudden water started, and he was like he was wet and he was trying desperately to get away, and he did. He sort of cleared and I thought, see, you'll make it. And I could just see he was on right where the water was, and I imagined him like going like, because he couldn't get any farther, and I all through the shower I kept sort of looking at him, checking on him, and then when it was over, I saw that he was really sort of curled up in a ball. And I thought, oh, no. No. I said, you didn't. I'm sorry. It ruined my day. I left him there thinking maybe he'll, come out of this. That body of that little spider wrapped up in a ball was in my bathroom for 24 hours. I couldn't bear to pick him up or whatever. And I finally, I just felt so bad for him.
Okay, well,
I really did.
On behalf of your whole audience, let me just say, you're nuts!
Yes. Maybe I was
I had a similar circumstance. I was lying on my back on the floor of the bedroom here and looking up at the ceiling doing Pilates, and a spider was walking right across the ceiling over me. And I tried to ignore him. I did, but eventually I got up, and I too was not trying to kill him. I just wanted him off the ceiling. But I think I swatted him. I brushed him too hard with the magazine that got him down. And then I thought the only thing, because I don't like to kill spiders. They're good. You want spiders killed, the things you don't want. So I don't like to kill spiders. But the only thing worse than a spider that you can see is a spider that you can't see that you know is there, especially if it's your bedroom and he might be in your bed. So I then had to spend another hour and a half looking for the curled up remains of the spider on a white carpet, but I found him. So, and I did pick him up. I did not leave him there for 24 hours out of total remorseful misery.
I don't know. Oh, God. And then later I saw another little one, a little bit bigger, same kind. And I was so happy to see him. I said, I'm really sorry what happened to your brother. I know I'm nuts.
Do you think anybody is actually listening to us?
Oh, okay. I forgot.
This is the way we sound when we just call each other.
Okay. I forgot. I did. Okay. Oh, geez.
Get to work.
Hey, then, all right. Well, it is work. It's work. I'm working here.
So what's your take on the Derek Chauvin trial? And I'm just going to keep saying that. Derek Chauvin.
I'm not watching because
I just don't want anybody to say the George Floyd trial anymore. I'm so sick of that.
Well, that's right, because it's not. I want to. I can't. I'll.
No, it's like finding out the vote of the Amazon unionization and this. I just want the jury to come back with the right thing and get there.
Well, it's gotta. It requires a unanimous verdict, and
I just I just can't imagine how you can come up with anything else.
Well, you could say that about a million other.
Oh, I know you could. Of course you could.
So, yeah.
9 minutes and whatever seconds the new time is. I'm sorry. That's all but first degree murder. I mean, it's not first degree murder because Chauvin did not wake up at 8:00 that morning and say, "I'm going to kill George Floyd." So the requisite intent for first degree murder is not there. Although I would argue that he had 9 minutes to form that intent. And I would have included that, claiming that 9 minutes absolutely gave him the time to decide that I'm just going to kill this person. But legally, that's first degree murder, nah. But anything else,
you want to convict. You want to convict.
You want it to be a bad defense to say that cop was acting the way he was trained.
Well, that's exactly what he did say.
I know that's what he said. I don't want that defense to work.
Officer Chauvin was just doing what he was trained to do. Yeah, I guess. Kill unarmed black people. God almighty. Unbelievable.
Well, and when you have it, side by side with the white insurrectionists who were killing police officers, and you have the same people that don't care about Mr. Floyd's demise saying that they weren't frightened by those white people, but if they'd been black, they would have been frightened. And that's what gives Chauvin the right to say that man's mere existence was a threat to him.
Well, that's right.
Because that's the argument.
Well, that's how the senator from Wisconsin clearly has said. I wasn't afraid of those guys. Yeah, that attacked the Capitol. No. If they'd been Black Lives Matter people, I would have been. Yeah. Well, he's telling the truth.
That's the crux of the defense, that by virtue of his male blackness, he is, I hate to say this, an existential threat.
Why do you hate to say that?
Because I hate the word existential. And everybody is using it now. Just say he's a threat. His very existence makes him a threat.
That is correct. I just want you to know that Gigi has written that she was enjoying the show. She says, Lynn and Susan, you guys are a breath of fresh air. I love listening to you two. Your conversations remind me of the conversations my sister and I had. See?
I know.
The good work. I'm just saying. And yesterday, I just want to say that I said something. Somebody said, I forget how it came up. We were talking about language and how, the caller was saying that if I moved to Mexico, I'd learn Spanish. And or Mexican, he said. He said, I've learned Mexican, and then realized his errors, and I mean Spanish. And it reminded me, and I couldn't think of which politician it was. I thought it was a president who was going for his first trip to South America, who to Latin America, who said, "Oh, and I don't speak Latin." And I couldn't.
That had to be a Bush.
No, that's what I was thinking. It had to be a Bush, but as it turns out, and I want to thank our friend Josh for sending this. The answer to me, it was almost a Bush. It was a Bush Vice President, Dan Quayle.
Well, of course it was.
Of course.
How do you spell potato?
Spell potato.
Potatoe.
Toe.
It's got a toe, that potato.
So anyway, but I don't know Latin. Okay. Jeez. And I just want you to know he had a law degree, okay? So
so do I. So there goes that. I just want to point out that there are law schools for all of us, and you can learn as much or as little as you want.
Yeah. So there was this thing where I guess the New York Times asked readers to think about how the soundscape of their lives changed during this pandemic year. And what, if they think about it, what was different? Why are you laughing?
Because the soundscape.
What? Susan?
I don't think it's. I'm laughing because the soundscape has become one of mostly silence, punctuated by loud farting.
Well, that's interesting because nobody said that here, but okay, that's what you and Mom have been up to.
Well, that's what old ladies do. I'm not even making it up.
No, I know you're not. All right, okay. Well, I appreciate your honesty. We all do. So,
okay, and how has the soundscape of your life changed?
Well, well, my life, because I live alone, has always been very quiet. I don't have radio on or television on it, so it's always been quiet. What I have noticed, though, because I stopped using my sound machine that I always put on when I went to sleep, white noise, I, for some reason, stopped during the pandemic. Not because I made a point of it. I just stopped. And so now I can sleep again without that damn thing. Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah, it is wonderful because I like night sounds.
Okay, so there I am. I'm able to sleep now in total quiet. But what I have noted more and more is how many sounds and noises the house itself makes.
Mm-hmm.
It's constantly, and sometimes it's an odd sound. I think, what the hell was that? I don't know. It settles, it creaks. I mean, this is when I'm not going to a floor creaking. You hear a weird sound. The kitchen makes a lot of noise. So the refrigerators, make a noise. Appliances all of a sudden do stuff.
The heat clicks on and off. I mean, the wind blows and the house creaks.
Yeah, a lot of stuff. So other people said the things that and a lot of people have said they've noted birds and the bird song a lot more than they did. But somebody else said what they thought of most is my children, who always seem to interrupt me while I'm doing a business like a Zoom meeting or a call. And this woman says the most memorable was when my older daughter came in yelling that her sister pooped again. And another one said that there are 2 words, or 3 if you count a contraction as 2, that she heard over and over, and it is true. And this has to do with Zoom too. You're muted.
Right. like you can hear somebody screaming, "You're muted!
Muted! You're muted!" Okay, just saying. And from the science section today, because we do this when Susan's on, we give you the sea slug.
Yeah.
Why? Because they're sort of like slimy, kind of?
They're like just, because slugs in general are just sluggy.
You know, I remember when I first lived in Pittsburgh, I don't know why I never saw a slug in Green Bay or any.
I don't either. They're all over the place.
But in Pittsburgh, there were always, and somebody told me, drop salt on them, watch what happens. So I did, and it's just incredible. You know, they just like, they shrivel up, disappear. It is disgusting, actually, even more. So I was doing that out on the sidewalk.
Wait a minute, you who can't kill a spider was
that's the
dripping
point.
Salt on slugs?
Yes, that's the point. And a little boy said, "You should stop that." And I said, "What?" And he said, "You're hurting them." And it's interesting because I didn't have an ounce of empathy for the slugs. None. So it just goes to show that I don't know. Anyway, let's go to the sea slug. So they're researchers, and they do research on slugs. And one researcher one day goes in to see this, the slugs, and they're all in a tank because they're sea slugs. And she sees that one of them has been decapitated. And she thought, what the hell? What the hell? How could it be? It was just a body, and it was sort of moving, but it didn't have a head. And then she noticed the head, totally on the other side of the tank, eating algae.
Scenes of the quarantine praying head in the bucket.
Oh, God. So
they each grow a new part.
No, only one does.
The head?
The head.
Because it can still eat.
Does a total regeneration in 3 weeks.
That's one way to get a new bod. A new body in just 3 weeks.
3 weeks. And that's the truth. And what's amazing is they figured out that the reason they self-capitate. They
self-decapitate.
Self-decapitate.
Right.
And then they self-capitate. Right?
They rebody themselves. They're capitate. Their head is always there.
Right. That's right. So they think they can't absolutely prove that these sea slugs ditch their bodies when they become infected in some way. And so they think, I'm getting out of here. And so they somehow decapitate themselves. I'm just saying.
I wonder, they must just eat their body off. Chew their body off.
No, because the body's floating around still in there.
No, but I don't mean that they eat it. I mean they sever it.
Oh, they sever it. Right. And they say that the wound heals within a day. I gotta tell you. Oh, Lynn wants to be heard on old people farting. This is good.
I know how to pick out universal subjects. I just want to put that down. Okay.
Okay, says here. Someone said the reason old people do this is because for some reason our mouths hang open more as we age.
And we swallow more air?
Something about the jaw and breathing, I guess. But that's why. Either way, aging is hideous. Well, it ain't a lot of fun.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hey,
I'm just changing. Changing my Native American name to farts with abandon. I mean,
Okay, so here though this is interesting. Yeah, we're filled with. I had my final, appointment with the surgeon who did my back.
Yeah.
About 3 weeks ago. Yeah, and they do an X-ray every time. So we were looking at the X-ray, and I see like these black sort of shadowy areas in the area around my spine. And I said, why are all those, what is that? Why is that all there? And the doctor said, it's gas. So, and I wasn't feeling especially gaseous at that point, but the minute he said, I thought, what? I mean, he says, these are your intestines, upper, lower, and they're filled with gas. Those were farts waiting to happen.
I rest my case.
Okay. Just saying. Okay. Speaking of bodies and, humans who cannot really decapitate themselves and get another body, there was another piece about, I don't know if this was in the science section, Scott Kelly, the astronaut, the brother of the now senator,
Mark,
who spent, Scott is the guy who did a year on the International Space Station, literally gave his body to
science
research. Yeah. And they are now saying that, do you know his heart shrunk by almost 30%?
Because it didn't have to work as hard? Or
yes, because without gravity, the heart does not have to pump as hard, and because it's a muscle, it also loses some fitness.
So it atrophied.
Because it atrophied.
Well, that's different. That's what I was asking, because an enlarged heart is a bad thing. So you would think that a smaller, more efficient heart might be good, but if it's atrophying and losing strength, that's not good.
Well, but and then they also found that a long distance endurance swimmer, and this is some guy, looks like a Frenchman because I can't pronounce the name. He attempted to swim across the Pacific Ocean.
Well, that's stupid.
Well, some people have these amazing.
I know.
Geez, God Almighty. I mean, I just think it's weird. Like,
I don't even want to do a length of mother's pool.
I know. I know. This guy wanted to swim across the Pacific Ocean. Not in one. What he did is he would swim for up to 16 hours, I guess.
And then get in the boat, right.
Then he would get in the boat that was, with him and sleep for 8 hours. So his body was always horizontal, almost always horizontal. It was also being buoyed up in the water, which is a lot like being in space, right? Because your body is essentially it's like weightlessness. And do you know what? His heart, they didn't think it would happen because he's exercising strenuously for 16 hours a day, swimming the Pacific Ocean, and his heart shrank almost exactly as much as Kelly's. And the doctors were stunned. They had thought his heart would get bigger because of the exercise he was doing.
Well, the body's really sort of amazing. So the interesting thing is what happens to it next. Do they tell you that after the year is over in recovery? Does the heart build back up healthily?
Yes. It says Kelly's heart has, gotten back to normal. And I mean, you have to work at it. And he lost a lot of bone mass. That's almost returned to normal. While he was in space, trying to keep this stuff that he knew would be happening he exercised a lot, used resistance machines and treadmills and stationary bikes, and he still couldn't stave off the whatever. So they're now refiguring maybe the kind of exercise that astronauts, let's say heading to Mars or something, would need to do,
right,
to keep from damaging their
because
body.
eventually, right, you'll atrophy past the point of efficiency.
Yeah. So that's sort of interesting. Okay, I have a great quote from Albert Einstein showing he had a sense of humor. Apparently, he was caught wearing stripes and plaid at the same time. I don't know what. He might have had on a plaid shirt and his pants had stripes in them.
I think more likely his pants were plaid and his shirts were striped.
Okay. Well, he had a great comeback to somebody who said, "What? You're wearing stripes with plaid?" He said, "Once you can accept the universe as matter expanding into nothing that is something, wearing stripes with plaid comes easy."
Well, he's right about that.
Yeah. If you could wrap your head around the stuff he was wrapping his head around.
I honestly just had that conversation with our mother about, I think it was about, it was about religion and the cosmos, and saying that religion comes to be because man can't accept nothingness or eternity, which is sort of one and the same. To think that the universe just goes on forever and that there's no end is
it hurts your head.
It hurts your head.
Yeah.
So you design a system that keeps you from having to think about that. But I think I do try, and once I accepted that it was like that, and I just didn't have to be afraid of it. Here I was anyway. I felt much better about things. When you realize that knowledge doesn't really affect your standing where you're standing, or your tomorrow or your yesterday, particularly, then you can let it go a little bit.
Yeah. But some people can't. I mean, I don't know. Anyway, Susan.
Yes?
I saw somewhere that CNN is going to be asking its people to start coming back into the studio, and as things start getting a little more normal. But get this, Fox News, which has been front and center promoting skepticism about COVID and about vaccines, their corporate
about masking.
people, no, they will not return to their Manhattan offices until at least Labor Day for their health and safety, according to Lachlan Murdoch.
Well, of course. You always look at what they do, not
what they say. Do you believe it, though? They are being more careful than CNN.
Well, CNN has its own perils because it is headquartered in Georgia. So, as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to use FedEx, not UPS, Lowe's, not Home Depot. I'm going to drink, thank God, ginger ale, Seagram's instead of Coca-Cola.
Well, let's talk about that.
Not eating any ginger peaches, Georgia peaches. There's 100 companies that are headquartered in.
Well, this is an interesting thing you're bringing up, because those companies, let's just go to Atlanta, because you do have CNN. You've got Delta airlines, you've got Coca-Cola, and you have Home Depot. Let's just stay with those right now. All of those corporations were very, very vociferous in coming out in support of Black Lives Matter, right?
That's right.
And they were also very much so there for gay rights, and they came out. They do it. They come out and put pressure on, and lo and behold, these legislatures back away because they don't want to lose these huge, huge employers with their good jobs. It has been noted that in this most recent outrage,
it's really silent.
There has been nary a peep from all of these so-called very concerned corporations who really cared about Black lives, and they stand by while Black people's ability to vote is being.
No, I'm real serious about this.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
it's not that hard, and this is the United States, and the states all function, you know, as a whole, and the other 49 get to tell this one that people have a right to vote, and one of the ways we get to vote is with our economic power. And we need to use it.
The thing is, Susan, these other states, there's a million states waiting in line to do the same kind of legislation. So we'll see. But I was thinking the same thing. I drink Diet Coke. That's gone. I'll never buy another. I'm doing Pepsi. You know, you avoid if you start flying Delta. You don't do Home Depot. As much as you can, but it works especially if you let them know you are doing.
That's right.
Now, Senator Warnock, the Black pastor who was one of the two Democratic senators that was elected in this last election, he's called this out, and he said, I have seen these corporations falling over themselves every year around the time of the King holiday, celebrating Dr. King. Well, I want to tell them that the way you celebrate Dr. King is to stand up for what he represented, and that's voting rights.
That's right.
You know why they don't? I mean, stop and think about it. First of all, corporations probably prefer having Republicans.
Well, of course they do. Their tax situation is they get to keep all the money.
Right. So it gets a little too close to home for them.
Sorry.
And it's harder. What?
I said too bad.
Yeah, and it's harder for them to pretend and to profess concern. I mean, think of all these, the NFL and all in Nike and all these ads about Black Lives Matter. And
I mean, baseball right now, the All-Star games in Atlanta this year, it should be pulled immediately.
Yeah, it's just total.
And all of those sports teams that exist they should be, you know, the first ones up there is going, you know,
we're not comfortable here. Yeah, exactly right. So this needs to be, people don't notice it. It's interesting. I'm glad you did.
I am noticing. I'm very concerned about these things. Do you know that I don't think there's a Democratic candidate that's stood up in Missouri to run against whoever is going to take Roy Blunt's place and the two people
that are not a Democrat. There's no Democrat that said they'll.
I keep waiting for someone to stand up. The only Democrat that said anything is Claire McCaskill, who said no. She's far too happy.
Oh, too bad. Well, there aren't any Democrats.
And you know, and the Republican, it's Greitens who was thrown out as governor.
Right, for sexual blackmail and
for sexual blackmail and for running a secret dark money thing, and
I know he's horrifying. And the Republicans are very upset that he's doing because they think maybe can't win. But if not, there's not even a Democrat to be seen on the right.
Yes, that's right.
Go figure.
It's really, there are certain places where the Civil War is ripe to start, and Missouri is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've told you that I witnessed full dress Ku Klux Klan meetings, just happening in state parks as I was driving through Missouri years ago. Yeah. Like 10, 15 years ago.
Well, I got to tell you, Western Pennsylvania and Central Pennsylvania are considered real hotbeds of this kind of hate groups. And so, yeah, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. Barbara sending me something that she thought was funny, but it could be offensive.
Well, that's right up our alley.
Yeah, right. Let me see. What is it? Let's see.
Funny.
Oh, yeah,
offensive.
I saw that too. I thought it was funny as hell. I think I sent this to somebody. It's, it's a picture of the Pillsbury Doughboy saying Happy Easter.
Yes.
And on top it says he is risen. And then there's the Pillsbury Doughboy who all of a sudden has been flattened into matzah.
Yes.
And it says he is not. And happy Passover.
I think it's very cute.
I think it's very funny. A big thing about Passovers are they ran out of Egypt, so their bread didn't have a chance to rise, and so we have to eat that awful matzah.
That reminds me. That we're talking about matzah because
I don't want to hear about matzah balls.
It'll take me 30 seconds. Honest
All
goodness.
Right.
I just want to tell you that for all of you people that grew up terrified of making matzah balls like I did, because I heard whispered conversations in the kitchen about how do you make them light and fluffy, they're going to be hard and disgusting, blah, 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 blah. So I thought there was something magical and mysterious about them, and I've only used what was in the Manischewitz or the whatever the other one is, little mixer things to make my matzo balls, and felt vaguely guilty about that. Well, this year, for reasons that don't need to go into, I tried real matzo balls and found out there's no secret. It's easy as can be, and I've been making them all along, just paying 10 times more for the little box.
Yeah, a prepared matzo ball.
Which was nothing.
It's the same.
It's the exact same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's my
all right.
Passover story for the year.
Just okay.
It's a dumpling. Right. That's right.
It's a dumpling. And some people like them sort of sinking to the bottom, and some people like them floating around easy and airy. But there are people who like,
the boulder sitting in the middle
balls.
of your right.
Right. Okay.
I'm just telling you, I actually see, to me, that's excitement to learn that something I spent my whole life terrified about was nothing.
Okay, I'm not into it because it might seem incredible that I've reached, the old age I am without
and never thought about it.
Never made a matzo ball in my life.
I know. You're a professional Seder goer. I'm a professional Seder maker.
It's too much work. My God, it's just unbelievable how much work it is. Oh, God, poor Jewish women. All right. Okay. I think that's it. I have all this other stuff here, but I think we only have a minute left, and I'll be danged if I'll share with you two other quotes. Okay?
Okay.
And this is a good one to remember, actually, when you're feeling sorry for yourself for some, bad luck you had or something. This is from Cormac McCarthy, the author. He says, "You never know what worse luck your bad luck saved you from." Is that true?
Of course.
But we don't think of that. You're only thinking about, oh God, woe is me, look what happened.
Well,
it's
something worse could have happened. It's two things. It's why you never say
it can't get worse.
It can't get worse. And it's why the thing that you lost that you can't find is always in the last place you look.
Okay, one more. And this is true. It's absolutely true. We only have to actually, this is emblematic of the last president. And his picture could be on this quote. And the quote is from a few centuries ago from Anthony Trollope. And here's what he said.
Tony.
Tony. Oh, yeah, everybody calls him Tony. Tony Trollope. Throughout the world, the more wrong a person does, the more indignant he is at wrongs done to him.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that true?
Yeah, well, that's the description of a bully.
Well, that's right. That's right.
Okay. Well, if we're doing truism, I'll leave you with one last truism.
Okay.
The sooner you start something, the longer it takes.
Excuse me?
Well, I'll do it the other way. The earlier you start something, the longer it takes.
The longer it takes. Okay. These are good. I want to just get in a few emails. Ella writes, there's an attorney from Georgia, Christine Kohler, who will represent anyone who is arrested giving out food or water in Gwinnett. I think what you are going to have is there'll be more people giving out food and water the next time.
Oh, well, that whole law is going to a challenge.
That's just bull. And then she says, happy Passover. And Ella, thank you for the lovely card you sent me. Thank you. And then she says this, and I have to tell you that this is the kind of sentence taken out of context that could, make people scratch their heads. She says, rub your hands with oil and rub the little balls.
We're talking matzo balls, people. That's like my mother-in-law's.
Your mother-in-law's
Thanksgiving recipe. Right.
Okay.
The turkey recipe.
Yeah, do it again.
Okay, the turkey recipe is first you tie your legs together and then you rub your breasts with butter.
First you tie your legs together and rub your breasts with butter.
So my sister-in-laws every Thanksgiving that start laughing hysterically when they take out the turkey. You can't help it. You can't get the sight of my mother-in-law tying her legs together and rubbing her breasts with butter.
Breasts with butter. Oh God. All right. Well, listen, we have gone beyond our scheduled time. So I'll see you and your family a little later on.
Yeah, I guess yes. Right? I'm gonna call you. So
it looks like we're gonna get together to torture my brother on his 75th.
Who, by the way, in anticipation of his 75th birthday, got a migraine last night and still has it.
We also must say that he also, for his 75th birthday, bought himself the biggest, hugest motorcycle you have ever seen.
Well, but it's smaller than his old biggest
like
one.
A rocket ship. It looks like a rocket. When I saw the picture, Susan, I thought, what? Let me tell you, an arthritic 75-year-old should not be motorcycling all over Kingdom Come.
That's true, but he bought this one because it's got better suspension. So that he used to show up in Chicago after 4 hours on his motorcycle.
Yeah,
and he would literally be shaking for an hour and a half from the motorcycle's vibrations.
Right. He's nuts.
Yes, he is, and he wants to give my son the old one. I said, wait.
No, don't let him. He still has the old one?
Yeah, because he promised it to my son. And I said, it's okay. Give him the new one. I'd rather new one when you die.
Oh, dear God.
I'll let Tawny handle this.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. God almighty. Okay.
Okay,
Well,
goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
I get to see my grandchildren today. Goodbye.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, bye.
Bye. Bye. And okay, you guys, I'll be back tomorrow. At least I'm planning on it, and I hope you will too. Bye-bye.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.